Hello and welcome to another episode of Daily Draft Logs. This is episode number 23. We're looking at a Kaldheim Premier draft I did a little bit ago. We went 1 and 3, so let's see what we could have done better. As always, please hit subscribe and like if you enjoy these videos, and if you would like to submit your own drafts for me to review on this channel, you can do so in the comments below or in my Discord channel, which is linked in the description below. Let's check out this draft. Pack one, pick one. Arena not saving these logs, and I hope they start doing that soon. We pick Koll'd the Forge Master with our first pick, so I'm assuming this means there's no good common in the pack. There's no Packmate, Demon Bolt, Behold the Multiverse, etc. The rare was probably not very good, and the other uncommons were probably like the spell lands or something like that. So that's what would lead me to take Koll'd first overall, but I would not be taking Koll'd over a good monocolor common, such as the 3 that were mentioned, or any monocolor uncommon that was pretty good either. So, you know, Koll'd's a solid card. It looks like a bomb kind of build around, but I found it to just be a solid role player in the red-white aggressive deck. It's very good in that deck, but and it's hard to kind of describe exactly why, but it doesn't seem like a card I want to start with and then force that deck and build around. I would rather kind of be in that deck, see Koll'd, and just be like, sweet, I'm going to take this. It's going to be really good. So that's kind of where I'm at on Koll'd. Let's check out pick 2. So we started with a Koll'd, so obviously we would like to be red-white. We got a couple good options here. We got Basalt Ravager, Rune of Speed, probably is the 2 best options for white-red. Bound in Gold there as well if we wanted a removal spell, but Ravager is a removal spell and it's a creature, so I think I like Ravager here. You end up with a reasonable amount of Berserkers in the red decks, so I could see this hitting for 2. If if we play like a Craven Hulk or something, it can sort of hit for 2 that way. So it's not going to be absolutely absurd, but if this takes down any one of their creatures and provides you with a 4/2 body, I think it's worth it. Plus it can go face, so sometimes at the end of the game you just need to deal them 1 damage to get them dead, and I've definitely done that with Basalt Ravager, so happy to pick it up here. I could see this being pretty close with Rune, though, given that we have a Koll'd already and wants us to play equipment and runes and stuff like that. I could see Rune also being a correct pick. Let's see what we took, and we took Rune, so fair enough. I think it's between those 2. I think I would take Basalt Ravager just for the power level, but Rune also a fine pick. Pick 3. Well, we get another look at a Koll'd, so pretty sweet that we picked up a Rune. There's also a Runed Crown here. I found it to just be too slow, too clunky. There are certainly games where I'm facing down an opponent who's got a Rune Crown with a rune on it, and the game's going super long, and they're just crushing me with it. So this is one of those cards where when it's really at its best, you're in a top deck war, they top deck this, they pull out a rune, they draw another card, it's a creature, they play it, they equip, now you're in big trouble. It's going to look amazing in those situations, but I think the truth of the matter is that you don't see all the times when it's awkwardly sitting in your hand because it costs 3 mana and your opponent can't cast it and you're just running them over or, what have you. So I'm actually not super excited about it here, and I would just take a second Koll'd to have a good curve of creatures, and I think Koll'd really pays you off for playing Rune of Speed anyways. We don't need to put a card that doesn't affect the board into our deck to pay us off for playing Rune of Speed. So we take the second Koll'd, love it, on to pick 4. Kind of a bunch of nothing here. We could take Reckless Crew. I've not cast it and had it do anything. What you're hoping is that this is a Dwarven Reinforcements that doesn't have Foretell, right? You're hoping to get 2 creatures out of it. So you need to have 2 equipment in play to make that happen. And of course, then you get the free equips, which is kind of nice. But I think this card is generally not a playable card. The pack is so weak, I could see taking it here. Not interested in Snow Mountain with the start that we've had. In terms of exploring cards of other colors, there's really not much here. I mean, we could grab Rootless Yew as a potential foray into green, but this sort of relies on you picking up the worm as well. if we move into green, we're moving off of Koll. So this is where starting with 2 multicolored cards does kind of hamstring you a little bit. But I think this pack is weak enough that we probably just take the crew here. And that's what we did, yeah. So bit of a weird spot, but I do believe that was the right pick. On to pick 5, we've got Shimmerdrift Veil to help us fix our mana. We've got Raven's Wings for the equip synergies. And that is kind of it. I guess we've got Doomscar Titan as a turn 2 foretell, and then turn 5 play a 4/4, which is not great. I'm not very interested in this card. I think I would take the equipment here, just because we have double Koll. Raven's Wings is not really where you want to be in the red-white decks. I like it in red-green because you've got bigger bodies to jump, but this will still do a solid job of, getting through damage in your red-white deck. And, of course, Koll pays you off for it. You can end up in spots where you're on the defensive, you slap a Wings on a small creature, and now you've got a good blocker, and they may not want to come in. So I think I like Wings here over Veil. I have been a big proponent of taking Veil early just to make sure you've got good mana. I think with the start we've had, which, for better or for worse, let me know in the comments below if you would have started this way as well. But, I think with the start we have, we know that we're red-white, and I think that red-white wants fixing less than a lot of the other decks. There's a lot of one-pipped, single-pipped cards, and I just don't think that Shimmerdrift is, a huge priority. Plus, you want to play 1-drops, so you don't want your lands coming to play tapped. So, for all those reasons, I would take Raven's Wings here. It looks like I took the Veil there. So we'll see if we end up missing this. This is not a super high pick. Average pick 9.6. So, maybe this wheels. Maybe we end up with enough equipment that it doesn't matter, but something to keep in mind. On to pick 6. Oh, baby. Our boy, Battlefield Raptor. So, with the Rune of Speed, we are very incentivized to pick up more equipment with the double Koll. I just really love this Battlefield Raptor. I've had to do a lot of work for me, and I would take it here over Bound in Gold. Given that our deck wants to play to the board very early, apply as much pressure as possible, and play creatures that benefit from equipment, and Raptor does all those things. So I would be on Raptor here. And that is what we took. And now we're looking at Run Amok versus Gold Mod Champion. I've not been a big fan of Gold Mod Champion. Run Amok, I'm still a big fan of. People are still talking about it not being that great because you're more on the equipment plan. I still think it's excellent. There's a lot of X4 creatures that some of the control decks and snow decks are playing that are trying to block you, and you stick your equipment on your Battlefield Raptor, it's still not getting through their Mistwalker, right? So Run Amok just really shines there. I find that it gets you through board stalls that you otherwise wouldn't be able to get through. It can kill your opponent out of nowhere, so I'd be on it here, especially over a card like Gold Mod Champion. That's what we took. Pick 8. I like Doomscar Oracle here. There's an argument for Raiders Carve because we have Reckless Crew, but I'm not going to take... I don't think I'm going to take a bad vehicle to make a bad card playable. I think we just take Doomscar Oracle. It's going to help us curve out. It's not a very exciting card, but neither of these are. If we end up with a Clarion Spirit, this will be quite valuable. I think we can get Raiders Carve later. We don't have a ton of creatures with 3 power, so maybe if we end up with more Doomscar Oracles, then Carve becomes better. So I think the pick here is certainly Oracle. That's what we took. Rounding at this pack, we're going to pick up a Kennel Master, as we're feeling like black is kind of drying up, but I do like Kennel Master in an aggressive white black deck or white-red deck. I don't know if I said red was drying up earlier. That's what I meant to say. So, we could be in a situation where we need to pivot into white-black here. That'd be pretty rough. We'd be dropping a bunch of picks. I mean, we did see this Run Amok a couple picks ago, so we're probably okay. But anyhow, Carful Kennel Master, pretty solid aggro creature. Right on. And then we see Carter's Vicious Return. So I don't love this pick. And I'm sure in my head I was thinking, okay, maybe we're getting cut out of white. Maybe we need to pivot into black now. But if that were the case, I would be on Death Knell Berserker. I think this card is highly underrated. And as you can see, it's average pick 8.7. And now don't quote me on this, but when the format started, this was like average pick 11 something. So this has actually moved up in a lot of people's pick orders. I think 2-drops are at a premium. They're hard to come by. And if you put a Tormentor's Helm or a Goldvein pick on this, or even a Raven's Wings, which we should have picked up, or a Rune of Speed or whatever, this thing gets insane. It's very good with the Demonic Gifts, the black combat trick. So I'd be all over Death Knell Berserker here. I would not be as interested in Carter's Vicious Return. I think this card is not very good, but it can, push through that last 3 points. You might play it if you're short, but Death Knell would certainly be the right choice here, I think. Seize the Spoils is a nice pickup in case we, are a little short on playables, need the filtering, need the fixing. Skull Raid, sure. Vault Robber, we're not going to play, and all this other stuff. Okay, so, sorry, spoiled it here. We took Ruined Crown, and I bet you know what I'm going to say is that I would not have taken Ruined Crown here. We do have double Koll'd that want us to play equipment, but 3 mana is a lot. It's just a lot, and 2 mana to equip is a ton. I've not been impressed with Ruined Crown, so I think I'd be turning my eyes towards a removal spell here, either Squash or Bound in Gold. And if you're a fan of Ben S, then you'll know that his sort of motto is that a low curve aggro deck wants a removal spell that kills big things, because you're going to be attacking them early, and then they're going to play a 4/4 or a 5/5, and that's going to stall your entire board. So what you need to do is kill that thing and then attack them for 6 or 7 damage and finish the game. So I really like Squash for that reason. Obviously, Bound in Gold takes care of a big thing as well. So the question is, are we going to take a slightly worse card in this deck in Squash, since we're not relying on Giants and Changelings, in order to stay open to the red-black pivot that we kind of felt was maybe happening in that last pack? Or do we just take the more powerful card in Bound in Gold, stick to our guns of double Koll'd, Battlefield Raptor, solid red-white aggro deck? It's a tough choice. I could see going either way here. I'm going to say I'm going to take Bound in Gold just because our black-red deck is not looking very exciting, and our red-white deck, I think, has a higher ceiling. So even though maybe it does hamstring us a little bit in the picks to come, I'm going to take Bound in Gold here. And, of course, we took Ruined Crown, which I think was a mistake. Okay, pick 2. All right, we got lots of options here. We got a Run Amok. We've got Stalwart Valkyrie, which is just a very, very impressive card in these aggressive decks, because you start with a Battlefield Raptor that they have to answer, otherwise it's just going to deal them a ton of damage over the course of the game, and then you get to play this for 2 mana. So Story Seeker, also a card I'm pretty fond of. I would take the Valkyrie over it, so the question is, are we going to go Run Amok, or are we going to go Stalwart Valkyrie? And I believe the correct pick is probably Valkyrie. We need creatures at the moment. I do love Run Amok, as I've said, but I think we need creatures at the moment. We just picked up an equipment, which means we're trying to equip stuff. Valkyrie handles equipment quite nicely. And good creatures with flying are also kind of at a premium in this format, and flying is particularly good in this format, as it is in most. So I think I'd be on the Valkyrie here. And we took Story Seeker, and it is a 2-drop. And I do like 2-drops, but this hopefully was an oversight. I don't think this is the correct pick. I think we want the flyer, and I would have taken it here. And now we get another look at a Story Seeker if we want it. But we've also got a Gold Vein pick in the pack, and I believe that's what we're supposed to pick, because we've got double Koll'd, and we've got Rune, which we can stick on it. Our flyer can wear it. It actually helps our Reckless crew become more playable, so we're going to snap up the pick here, and we do. Next pick, we were looking at a Frostbite versus Fearless Pup and Starnheim Corsair. It's pretty easy Frostbite. We're short on removal at the moment, especially because we didn't take that Bound in Gold. Starnheim Corsair is going to be quite good in this deck, but we're hoping to wheel these. This is average pick 785, so this has actually gone up for people. This used to be a last pick card, but I still think we take Frostbite here. And we took Corsair, very interesting. So it could be another oversight. Maybe I was half asleep at the wheel here. There is synergy with Corsair, and I know I said we want big removal, but we also don't hate picking up a Frostbite here and just being able to clear the way for some of our early guys. I think Frostbite would be the correct pick. So seeing some of the decisions that may have led to this 1-3 record here. Okay, Codespell Cleric, Besker Shieldmate. So I am a fan of the Cleric, but I don't think it's that good. I'm just a fan of it, you could be a fan of that the grinder on the hockey team, and because he's a cool guy and he works hard, but he's not the star player, right? So that's kind of where I'm at with Codespell Cleric. Beskar Shieldmate, on the other hand, is a pretty nice one. It's going to wear equipment for you, then it's going to die into another creature that can wear more equipment for you. And guess what? We're trying to play equipment. So I would take Beskar Shieldmate here. And we took Cleric, so another pick that I would maybe make differently today. On to pick 6. This is kind of a tough one. So we passed up on that 2-drop there, which makes us want Cavalry more, but I think we still want Tormentor's Helm more than anything with double Koll, Rune of Speed to put on it. Reckless Crew actually starting to look more playable. We got Flyers that want it, so I think the Helm is the correct pick here, but we are kind of getting worried about our 2-drop count because Vault Robber does not count. We've only got 3 2-drop creatures. I really wish we had that Shield Mate over this Cleric. Cleric's pretty good with Raptor and all that, but I think the Shield Mate is really where we want it to be last pick. So we're going to grab the Helm here and hope to see more 2s, and we do. How lucky. We'll pick up an Axguard Cavalry here. Very nice. And then we'll take a pick 8 Magda or a Teskari Firewalker. That is pretty interesting. If we'd taken the Raven's Wings, I'd be all over this Firewalker. I think I still am all over it, but Firewalker is one of the main reasons that you actually want Raven's Wings in your deck. But yeah, even still, I mean, it can hold a pick or a crown or whatever and start getting in there and drawing you cards. So I think we take the Firewalker over the rare, but I do like this rare quite a bit as well. And we took the rare. Yeah, so, I mean, I like this rare. It's got some upside to it with... actually, it's better in blue-red, I feel, because you get access to more changelings like Kinseekers and Mistwalker that actually benefit from the +1/+0, and then the treasures, you can sack 5 and find a Kinseekers or whatever as a dragon card. So, I mean, it's a 2-mana 2/1 in this deck, and it's going to be fine. It's going to pump up, I guess, Koll and Cavalry. And we do have some creatures that benefit from it, but the raw card advantage that Firewalker can generate for you is such a huge boon. And I do believe in this spot it is the better pick. So very interesting to see all these picks in retrospect because, you know, so thinking what could we have done to do better than 1/3? Well, a lot of things apparently. Rounding out this pack, we'll take a Breakneck Berserker. That's actually pretty good for us. We need a 3-drop and it'll do work for us. Wheel of Runamuck, I like that. Take a Story Seeker. Okay, so Axguard Armory. So this pick is cool. I think Pup fits better with what we're trying to do, but this would be really interesting if we had taken Bound in Gold, because then this becomes search for Bound in Gold and an equipment. At the moment, now we're hoping to open or get past a Bound in Gold, and that doesn't happen all that often because people think it's better than it is. Whereas Fearless Pup wields a Tormentor's Helm or a pick and becomes a very, very scary little guy, 2/2 first strike that can pump. Or, you know, if we open a Dwarven Hammer or something, a 5/1 first strike, I think this card is really where you want to be in an equipment-heavy deck. Any creatures with keywords like this, first strike and flying being 2 of the most busted keywords printed, I guess aside from, like, hexproof, you know, you really want these when you're relying on equipment as we are here. So I like taking the Pup here over the land, but this land is pretty sweet if you have some Bounded Golds. Pick 13, Vault Robber, sure. Narfi, sure. Brian Barrow, whatever. Okay, so looking to shore up our 2-drops. We still got 2 Vault Robbers here that obviously we don't want to play. Need some removal, like a Demon Bolt or something to kill a big thing, like a Squash, which we're seeing here, and I believe that would be the pick. There is a Starnheim Courser that we could grab to help out the equipment side of things. But I feel like we're in a spot where we just need to take a good removal spell. I think Squash will do the trick for us. It's tough, though. 5 mana is a lot in this deck. 5 mana is a lot. And we don't have any giants. Yeah, this is pretty tough. I think it's still fine. I mean, we've got a pick that's going to be producing some treasures. We've got a seize. I think we take Squash, or we take Coma for the gems or whatever. But yeah, we took the Squash. Nice. Okay. And we get past a Redain, God of the Worthy. So this is the shield on the other side that you generally want to play that just makes combat impossible for your opponent. Man, but we also could take a Battlefield Raptor here. And I actually remember a couple games with this deck where we were sort of backs against the wall, just relying on the shield and didn't quite get there. Our opponent found removal for it or whatever at the end of the game. So this is actually a close pick. The shield is really cool. I just don't want to be blocking with this deck, or really in this format at all or in any format ever. I don't like blocking. It never feels great to me. I think there's a real argument to be made for Battlefield Raptor here. We've got some good equipment to put on it. We want to be aggressive. We want to get in there. But I know we took Redain, and we did. And I'm wondering, let me know in the comments what you would have done here. I mean, obviously Redain's still pretty good as a 3-mana 2/3 that carries equipment. So maybe I'm off my rocker here, but Battlefield Raptor really standing out to me as a potential choice we could have made this pack. All right, so Battle Shield Warrior, not a card I'm super excited about. We're not going super wide. It's expensive. It's clunky. It's a 3-mana 2/2. There's a lot of things about it that I really don't like. So I think I'd be on Story Seeker here. There's also a Braggart in the pack, and we don't have any 4-drops really yet, but we'd hope to do better than this. So I think we're going to grab Story Seeker here, and we do. Nice. All right, Dwarven Reinforcements, Fearless Pup, Wings of the Cosmos. Again, the pup with the equipment is a real strong thing. I think I'd grab it here. Reinforcements has got some hype around it as well. It has since kind of the beginning of the format. It just feels a little bit clunky to me sometimes. I mean, sometimes this card is excellent. You play it and it's like, holy moly, we've got 2 more creatures. They can't deal with this. But other times it's you don't want to be foretelling this on 2. You want to be playing a creature. So I think I like taking the pup here, and we did not. So we've passed 2 pups, and again, I'm going to say it again. I think the pups are really going to make this equipment shine, whereas these reinforcements are going to come down too late. And yeah, they can pick up a helm and get in there, but if we haven't been able to effectively pressure our opponents up until then they're not going to be as good. And, you know, the pup does a real great job pressuring early and late, so I think we're supposed to take it here. On to pick 5. So I think we grab another Starnheim Courser over Craven Hulk. Although Craven Hulk helps us with Squash, it's a pretty unexciting card. It's pretty good if you've got a bunch of cavalries. We've got 1. We've got a Rune of Speed to give it, but I think I'd just take the cheaper card in Starnheim Courser that's going to help us cast our Crown, help us cast our Rune, our Pick, and also carry all these things. And that's what we took. Pick 6. Well, we passed a Frostbite. I think I like taking it here over Rune of Sustenance. We've got 3 Lifelinkers already, so life gain's not going to be a huge problem for us, whereas Frostbite is actually going to kill something, which is going to be useful most of the time. We've got a Rune to search. The thing about Crown that's cool, if we're really considering playing it, is that it can pick up a Rune out of your hand, out of your graveyard, or out of your library. So even if you've already drawn it and your creature's killed or whatever, the Crown's still going to get you value. So don't feel like you need to play 3 runes to make sure that you have one to search for, because you will always have one to search for. If it's out of your hand, it's not great, but it's still a mana advantage. So I don't think we should take Rune here. I think we should take Frostbite. And we took Rune. So another sort of strike against. All right, so Kaya's Onslaught. Really great with Run Amok. This will sort of win you a game out of nowhere versus Starnheim Courser. I think we take the Onslaught before I've even counted our creatures, just because I think it's more powerful, a more unique effect. It's cheap. You can foretell it, although we don't really want to be doing that. And we've got double Run Amok, and that is a real ruthless combo. So I'm not even going to count the creatures. I think we want to take the Onslaught here, and that's what we did. Pick 8. Get another look at Squash. We didn't take Craven Hulk, which I believe was correct to not do. Here we could take Craven Hulk, we could take Besker Shieldmate, we could take Squash. I think we take Besker Shieldmate here for all the reasons that I said earlier. We do have a lot of 2s, but you can almost never have too many 2s. Like 8, 9, 10 2-drops can be a really good thing in a deck. So I like taking Shieldmate here. And we took Craven Hulk, so I think that was probably a mistake. You could play 15 lands. You can go way down on your land count. You can stick equipment on stuff. You don't really need a 4/4 the way others' decks might need a 4/4. So I would be on the Shieldmate there. Here we can just pick up Raider's Carve. I don't think we're going to play it. Late Starnheim Courser is pretty nice. We could take Valor of the Worthy as well to go with Cole, but we might be, in creature consideration mode at this point, and like Valor's a pretty bad card. So I like taking Courser there. Another Seize, and that will round it out. So a few picks there that really could have made a difference. We could have had 2 Shieldmates in our 2-drop slot. We could have had a 3-mana 3/2 that draws you cards to Scary Firewalker instead of this. We could have had an extra Battlefield Raptor instead of Redain, which again I'm not sure about. We could have had, instead of Dwarven Reinforcements, I think that was maybe the Shieldmate pick. Instead of Craven Hulk, we could have had a Frostbite. We could have had 2 Frostbites. We could have had a Bound in Gold instead of the Squash. So our curve would have been lower. We would have had less filler like Rune of Sustenance. And we could have had a couple pups too. So I definitely think there's a lot of room for improvement in this draft. I think this deck would have been a lot stronger, a lot more aggressive and proactive, even though it is still a pretty proactive deck. There are a few cards in here, the Shield being one, and the Runes being another, that are sort of slow, don't affect the board, and lead you into these situations where you start playing defense, and that's really not where you want to be. Also, worth noting that Axgard Armory didn't really get there. I mean, we could search for a rune off of it, and maybe that's enough, but you really want to be finding Bound in Gold, I think. But maybe this is still worth playing. And we left the Reckless Crew in the sideboard. I think that was worth doing. Breakneck Berserker is an interesting one. I could see maybe playing it over Doomscar Oracle, as it's kind of the same thing, except it has haste, and we're not really trying to double spell, so I think that was maybe an oversight there as well. Second, Run Amok. It depends on our creature count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, I think we could have played another Run Amok instead of like a Craven Hulk to be even more aggressive, or instead of a Rune of Sustenance, or instead of a Crown even. Cut like Rune, cut Crown, add Breakneck Berserker and Run Amok. That might have made a huge difference as well, because I think, there's a mindset where it's like, well, Koll'd is pressuring us to play all these cards. It's not really. Like, Koll'd's a 2-mana 2/2, and then you just sort of play a normal game of Magic, and then occasionally you're going to be in this situation where you've got a Tormentor's Helm on a Teskari Firewalker, and Koll'd's helping you out. Other times it's just a 2-mana 2/2 that soaks up a removal spell, and you continue to get in there with your Battlefield Raptor. So I don't think you need to build around it super hard. I think it just is a solid part of a red-white aggressive deck. So those are my thoughts. Thanks again for watching. Please let me know in the comments below if you disagreed or agreed with any of the stuff I said here in this video. If you'd like to submit a draft log for me to review, you can do so in the comments or in my Discord channel, which is linked in the description below. Please click like, please click subscribe, support the channel. I appreciate it very much. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.